Hello everyone, today we are going to take a break from watches and check new Land-Rover Defender. I guess fans of British car maker were waiting for the next generation of the famous off-road vehicle for quite some time. It was presented recently on Frankfurt Motor Show, but due to COVID problems, there were some restrictions with test drives, so I managed to get my hands on the car only this month. It's not a problem in my opinion because first cars still will be available only in the end of month, in the end of August, and first there will be 5-door versions delivered, so you have some time to think about it and you have some time to try it as well because I think it will be available in official dealers. It is important to add some background here because Defender is a quite famous British car and there are a lot of fans who use this off-roader for driving in some crazy terrain. Car was produced almost unchanged for 50 years and I would say it's one of the main rivals of the classic G-Wagon when it comes for the image, but it is not as glamorous as German offering. Mercedes released new generation several years ago, so it was just a question of time when Land Rover will bring new generation, especially considering that previous or predecessor was quite outdated and it needed some urgent improvement. It would be strange to expect the same design on the next generation, but it somehow managed to stay in this, I would say, familiar boxy shape with smooth curves, and there are two versions available, 3 and 5 doors, and they have names 90 and 110, but obviously this is not a length of the wheelbase anymore because these new models are longer, and both look great, but 3-door offering somehow manages to be more solid in design because everything looks just right in place. Maybe it is the second row of doors what makes whole silhouette more heavy on the 5-door, but don't get me wrong, 5-door is not ugly, but if you don't care about rear seats, choose 3-door and it will be more unique and exclusive versions on the market. I can bet that the biggest share of orders on the new Defender will be filled on 5-door version and it will be the most popular on the market. Whole styling looks sleek, but when you take a more careful look, you try to check all these panel lines, you will start noticing various thingies. For example, the black line for side view mirrors on the A pillar. I'm not sure who decided to put it there, what is the idea behind this element, but in my opinion it doesn't work with overall design, it looks extra and it breaks the A pillar, makes it more ugly, and I mean it is just extra design and I would rather have it painted in the color of the whole body. The same can be said about rear pillar. You can order the special squarish panel on this part, but in my opinion again it breaks the whole silhouette, so don't order it or close it with external storage. It will be more convincing appearance on such car. Headlamps and tail lights are full LED here, like it or not. Front headlamps are quite bright, but in order to have this circular light you will have to turn to more expensive packages, and this is not such a great approach to design, but I mean it will be easy to distinguish between more expensive Defenders and cheaper ones. And there are openings in headlamps, so such thing will be not welcome on off-road. I can bet that it will be dirty after some serious driving, so get ready to wash it quite often in order to remove all the dirt which will be inside. Separate word should be said about colors palette on this car. There is one word to describe this precisely. It is boring. I mean, I'm not sure who was picking all these colors, but each shade makes me want to buy a spray can, add some graffiti or completely respray whole car. I know it was done with some marketing research and blah blah blah, but it does not look convincing in person. I mean, it is really calm palette and I would rather stick to the most basic white one, cover it with some foil and have completely original paint because there is no offering for custom paint as well. This is really strange. And when we come for wheels options, there are really wide choice of different wheels, but I would rather stick with standard metal stamped wheels because they suit this car. This is not some race vehicle, so that's why it's better to choose something durable. Classic Defender was famous for its cramped interior, where you were constantly pressed by thin door and center console. There was not a lot of space, but here everything changed and fans will be able to breathe easily. Moreover, there are 3 versions of the front seat. This is really surprising in my opinion because one of them offers 3 seats in front. There is also option to choose the center console with fridge, wireless charging, also various ports for charging, and you can also choose the special version without anything in the middle so that you can walk through it. As for the dashboard, it would be strange to expect something similar to original car. The only traditional Defender thing is 2 large bars on top and bottom. They somehow remind of the classic generation car, and 2 big screens are the main features here. You will be using them a lot and it doesn't matter whether you want it or not, but there is no way to avoid it. And frankly speaking, it feels a bit strange on off-road car where I would rather have some traditional analog gauges, but here you have to rely on digital displays. You can't avoid glare on the screens, fingertips will be also present here. Frankly speaking, I am not sure why manufacturers keep pressing on the glare finish when they can choose the matte finish on the screens, which will be more usable in cars. Steering wheel comes in several versions, be it with leather finish or without it. Both feature buttons and large Defender sign in the middle, obviously. Don't be deceived by bright middle insert. It is plastic and designers didn't even try to add some metal finish. Yes, it is polished in matte, but it feels weird to have such cheap part right in your hands. Another question is how all these light parts will fare in off-road use because they will get dirty quickly, so not the right option for off-roader in my opinion. Front and rear seats are quite comfortable here. I was able to find the right position in front of wheel in few seconds, so there is no need to talk more detailed in my opinion. Just make sure that you order textile instead of leather. I wish there would be more options for textile seats because it suits the overall idea of road use. I mean, it would be nice to choose the color and design of textile seats, not only the leather options. Interior looks more or less solid, but there are a few things that bother me. For example, this version was equipped with glass roof, and there are also glass inserts in the rear section, but as you can see, the glass roof featured the light trim around, but in the rear inserts we have black trim. I'm not sure who decided to choose such color combinations. It looks really weird because it looks like somebody took extra parts and installed them here. So if you know the idea behind such design, tell me in comment section. And one more thing I would like to mention is that it is not easy to get in and out of this vehicle because of its height of the ground. You have to choose whether you want leg rest as an additional option or learn how to jump higher and further. Obviously, this leg rest, they will cost more money. It is around $2,000 option, so not such a convincing choice on off-roader. This tested car was a D240 version, which means diesel with 240 brake horsepower inside. In my opinion, it's more than enough for Defender, and you have sufficient power in every situation. It feels that momentum is accessible right from the lowest RPM. Engine noise is not that annoying even on high RPM. It is a bit strange to mention noise isolation in this part, but it is surprisingly good on this car and obviously better than on predecessor. Keep in mind that my version had glass roof, so I can guess that with metal roof it would be even better, and of course with petrol engine it should improve considerably. So let's recap first. It was 5-door D240 Defender with almost all possible options inside. I doubt that somebody will tick everything in configurator, but who knows, so we got a chance to test it on the road and on the off-road as well. Some might say that such long vehicle and big off-roader would feel weird in a city, but no, this wasn't the case. Thanks to unusually wide steering, you get used to the size of this car after a few minutes. This is a really surprising feeling in my opinion. And no, I didn't use any digital thingies on board. It was enough just to ride visually, let's say. Light steering can be a bit troublesome on higher speeds. I guess it could be better if it would change the power according to the driving speed, but it doesn't here. All common city tasks, parking, driving through narrow streets and standing in traffic jams, were easy on this car. Defender feels surprisingly light and airy. You don't perceive it as a huge off-roader. It's fair to mention that Defender does not like sharp turns, so you won't be able to race it in some S-curves, and obviously you won't take it to Stelvio Pass, and the suspension durability is really surprising. You don't feel bumps and small creases, even big holes get eaten by suspension. It was air suspension on this version, and note that 3-door can come with normal spring suspension. It would be strange to try Land-Rover Defender and not to test its off-road capabilities, and it would be even more strange to find decent track around Prague, so I managed to find small forest road, but it still wasn't a serious obstacle in my opinion. Defender passed it without any extra problems, and the only concern was that branches will scratch the paintwork. As I said, this car features air suspension, so you can lift it easily and pass over some unpleasant hills. There is also special digital off-road companion tools on cameras all around, and light steering lets you drive through rough terrain really lightly, so you can literally steer with one finger and you won't have any problem. First, Defenders will be coming in very limited amounts due to COVID epidemic, and don't expect them to be freely available at the moment. I can bet the most popular version will be 5-door, it will be the first available, and 3-door will be available for order in autumn. As for the conclusion, is it good car? I guess it somehow manages to feel warm and analog while still featuring displays and digital assistants almost everywhere in every possible area. But jokes aside, new generation might feel great, but its price does not. It could be a bit cheaper in order to avoid some rivals and get more buyers. I highly doubt that serious off-roaders would be getting it for dirt rides. It doesn't feel like proper urban car cruiser either, especially when you can get Jaguar F-Pace or Range Rover Velar almost for the same price. I honestly wonder who will get this car and for what purpose. One more thing that influenced my impression is the lack of charisma on this car. It doesn't feel like something special. Some people call it analog of G-Wagon, I said it in the beginning, but we don't get the same amount of tactile and visual emotions here. This is unisex boxy off-road car with the famous name, but it doesn't have the visual appeal which gets you hooked instantly. Here comes the question, would I buy it? I would say yes, but on the second thought, I would rather wait 1 year in order to have first used cars on the market, which will be cheaper, more accessible, and maybe they will show all the problems of the new generation. One more thing to mention is that there are already photos that Land Rover tests Defender with V8 engine under its bonnet, so we can guess it will be even faster than current 400 horsepower offering. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this first test drive on our YouTube channel. It is quite rough in video, but I hope the next one will be a bit more smooth. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion, and if you like this video and you want to support us, press the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!